So greetings of the day, participants, and thank you very much for logging on time. Pasilu, maybe like next slide. So today we will be talking about informed decision making through evidence-based insights. So I'm Ms.Sandamali Ariyarathna, monitoring, evaluation and learning professional in the development sector. And I will be excited to be your moderator for today's webinar. As you have already known, today's session is on making informed decisions through evidence-based insights. For those who have participated our previous 3 webinars earlier, like during this year, today's session is about using the findings and knowledge we generate from monitoring, evaluation, and learning. But those who are participating for the first time, don't worry. You will still understand the session as this session is planned comprehensively. Also, you can visit SLEvA YouTube channel and watch previous webinars if you are interested to learn more. Next slide, please. As the first thing, let me remind the webinar etiquettes. We hope you will be listening actively and posting your questions, insights, feedback, and any interest in the chat box. Feel free to raise your hand and get your chance if you are preferred to ask questions in person during Q&A session. Also, please use your camera and microphone wisely so that you won't be disturbing others. Next slide. With that note, let me cordially invite SLEvA President, Mr. Jinendra Kothalawala, for opening remarks. Jinendra, this is your time.
Thanks, Ms.Sandamali, for giving me the opportunity for the opening remarks. SLEvA was established in 1999, 26 years ago, to address the need for developing establishment of an evaluation culture in Sri Lanka. SLEvA membership includes a wide cross-section of professionals from academia, development agencies, non-governmental agencies, public and private sectors. One of our main objectives is to promote evaluation as a key element in the development process, and capacity building is one of key part of our agenda. Capacity building includes the training, workshop, knowledge exchange, and virtual sessions on evaluation like this kind of a webinar series. We had this webinar series last few years. This is the 4th webinar in 2025. Around 65 members has been registered for this webinar. So thanks again for everyone for joining. And now our moderator, Ms.Sandamali, will proceed with this webinar. Thanks.
You are muted, Sandamali.
Excuse me, Ms.Sandamali, you are muted.
Sorry. Thank you, Jinendra, for that introduction about the SLEvA and what we are doing, and then welcoming our participants. Next slide, Pasilu. Now let me introduce Mr.Nalaka Siriwardena, speaker for the day. Nalaka, a senior management professional in the international development field, has started his career in early 2000 as a program officer and climbed his career ladder up to a country director. He has working experience in managing large-scale projects with program and budget management, human resources, and experience in all aspects of the project cycle. Under leading organizations such as GIZ, USAID, FCM, VSO, CARE, DFAC, and FAO. While having bachelor's and master's in fisheries management, natural resource management, and aquaculture, he has strong working experience in governance, conflict transformation, peace building, child protection, youth empowerment, livelihood development, poverty alleviation programming, value chain, market-based economic development programs, and whatnot. I trust today you will have a chance to glimpse his experience through this webinar. Nalaka, floor is yours.
Thank you, Sandamali, and thank you, SLEvA, Sri Lanka Evaluation Association, for giving me this opportunity. I think this subject particularly is quite timely and important, because we all know that the development aids and efforts are being challenged in terms of the effectiveness of those and the intention of those programs. So I think if we look at this subject, informed decision making through evidence-based insights, it's in a way that this is the most effective mean to prove that what we are doing is very much related to the needs of the the particular scenario. Now, and I will not take all time for my presentation. I'm planning to do it within 20-25 minutes max, and let others to kind of contribute. Because Sandamali told me this is a kind of a learning process, a collective learning process. So I would also learn from the participants. I can already see like some of the very experienced people in the sector it's joined. That's quite privileged to see that. So let me do my like brief sharing from within 20-25 minutes. So this subject, the theme has, as far as I see it, it's the two different components. One is all like decision making, and then it's about evidence and insights based decision making. How do you really connect evidence and insights for decision making? So we all know in development sector, in development program, the main tool that generate evidence, data, information is M&E. So M&E is stronger in our sector more than any other sector. But there's a question of how effectively we are using it. Been in this sector for quite a long time and been a kind of passionate person on M&E. I have my doubts that we are doing it maximum. Let's talk about those things in coming in coming slides. So M&E is the main information generating tool in development sector, and decision making needs to be connected very effectively with the information generated through the M&E system. So I just selected random definition on M&E and decision making. Don't pay a lot of attention to details. I just want to make the connection where the link is, right? So the effective decision making relies on the availability of accurate and up-to-date information. Accuracy and up-to-date is very important. And the M&E provides this information by tracking key performance indicators and evaluating program outcomes and identify areas for evaluating programs and outcomes and contextual changes, and also identifying areas for improvement. So this is the connection basically, and just to establish that we are talking about though the title look different like fancy, but what we are really trying to talk about how the M&E system is connected with the decision making process. Right? Next slide please. So M&E itself, I think it's a sophisticated and deliberate process of acquiring data with high level of accuracy and efficiency. So it's basically it's no brainer to understand that this should be the basis of the decision making. And if theoretically speaking, if you all know this two cycles or the graph that you see in the screen. The first one is project management cycle, bit elaborated one, and the second one is about the decision making process or cycle, however you want to call it. So you can see that big part of the project management cycle is monitoring, evaluation, reflection, and learning. So this is where you develop data and analytics and insight where it connect with the decision-making process. If you take the decision-making process, it's about identifying the problem, generating information, assessing the alternatives, and make choices. So where this dark blue section, gathering information, that's where it get connected with the M&E process of the project management. So once you use those information and making choices, the purple part is again get connected with the planning process of the project management cycle, right? So if you reflect on what kind of information that what kind of decision that we make using the M&E data, it's about project progress related to project progress related decision, achievement of results, achievement of indicators, and decision about project strategies, budget management, staff performance, and partner performance, and even the contextual changes that take in place while the project or program being implemented. In most of the cases, we don't really use M&E system to track the contextual changes, but I believe it's a very important aspect of M&E. Next slide, please, Prasinda. So theoretically speaking, what we know as a results-based management approach is built on the premise that these two processes are integrated and complementing each other effectively. So the whole results-based management framework is depend on the approach is depend on generating information and data about what the activities are achieving, what the project and program is achieving, and then build on the next steps based on those insights. Now, is this happening actually on the ground? We talk about this framework and we are saying that we are adapting, we are using, following those framework. If it really happening on the ground, that's quite a questionable thing. And I'm questioning myself whether as a senior manager in the sector that whether we are using it properly. There are a number of areas that I see that why this is not taking place as much as we wanted to see. And one of the main reason, unfortunately, most of the decision making do not trust ML outcomes. I'm pretty bored in this statement, but if you all are reflecting your own experience, you might agree with me. So M&E is considered as something that really serve the donor reporting, is not anything related with the project management decision making. That's one of the main barriers. And also from the other side, and there's considerable challenges in accuracy and timeliness of data that we are generating. That's been though we talk about data quality management and processes, and we invest a lot of money on those things, but still there are still issues related to data quality. And also the analytics are either not available on time or they are not digestible. So for decision makers, when you come to decision making, you need very straightforward information, right? You don't want to waste time on depend on analyze raw data and continuously work, put a lot of efforts on developing analytics out of it. You need analytics to make decisions. So the analytics are not coming quite effectively in the current most of the systems. And then also there's a bit of reluctance to resistant to change and use this kind of data in decision making, rather than the decision makers think that we know everything, so we know what we are doing. So basically that attitude also if I have an impact on the subject that we are talking about. At the middle of this cycle, this is something I really want to emphasize in here. It's stakeholder participation. So stakeholder participation, I believe, it's a very important thing in this whole subject that we are talking about, both M&E and decision making. It can be partners, it can be beneficiaries, it can be other technical, partners, whoever. I think whoever doing a role in the project or program should take part in these processes. Their insight can shape decision making, ensuring that that it aligns with the needs and expectation of those affected by the program. So that's very important aspect of it. So with that, can you put the next slide, please, Sidhu? I'm not sure that I'm getting the right presentation, Sandamali. There's a bit of issue.
Yeah, I think, yes, please.
This is not the right presentation, I guess.
Yeah, yes, there are
See the last presentation.
Can you share the screen, Nalaka?
Yeah, I do that. Sorry about that. Give me a second. Let's stop share the yes. I need to go.
So meanwhile, Nalaka is preparing, sharing his screen. I want to stress what Nalaka said, sometimes as male folks out there, we wonder why our voice is not heard by the management. I think he kind of put up a proper question or properly boldly said that the information that we are providing may not timely available or may be questionable. The accuracy of your information might be questionable. I think towards to the end, we can understand how we need to prepare ourselves while maybe leadership, how leadership needs to be more sensitized about the information that we are providing. Yeah, I think we are right.
Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can. We can, Nalaka. You have to put the presentation. Yep.
Right. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
So this is something I was talking about, stakeholder participation, and this is something I want to share. Sometime back, it's some of the participants I see that probably know this. The example that I'm talking about. Sometime back, around I think early 2000. One of the leading agencies in international development, European agency, started developing a tool on M&E, that especially focusing on evaluation based on perception of the stakeholders. It was called Eval. I won't kind of disclose the name of the organization, but because I don't have permission to do that. So this tool was completely perception-based evaluation of the outcomes of the project, right? And there's set of questions that set of question developed to each and every stakeholder, and you can just kind of pose these questions to them using a computer. And this is called eval, is electronic evaluation. So this is, you can imagine, this is the era that we were talking about, electronic gadgets, not digital gadgets even, right? So that's why it's called eval. So eval was as I said, it's a perception-based tool. So you pose set of questions for stakeholders related to where project start in their opinion, where should the project supposed to go, where the project currently located and why, and where it's supposed to locate currently, and what needs to be done to get the project back on track if it's out of track, right? So once you discuss this questionnaire with him and insert the information, you can do it while doing the interview with him. So it's very interactive and participatory, and it gives you a kind of a 3D graphic like this. Okay, so this graphic is very poor. This is not like the original one is not like this. It's really like it was made on a grid, so you can measure everything. So where the project start, and this is based on this particular person's opinion, right? And where the project supposed to be, where the project supposed to go, right? And where the project is now, in his opinion, and where the project supposed to be in his opinion, right? So once you have this graph with the set of questions that we ask, what needs to be done to get the project back on track in his opinion, right? So if the individual, this is the individual outcome, and then you can show it to the participant and discuss further and collect more information. And this can be this can be aggregated once you get connected to the server. There's a different server to process the data, and aggregated as a beneficiary wise, project component wise, geographically, whatever. There's different ways of aggregating that. So imagine having this kind of tool, right? This kind of tool as a project manager. You will, this tool can be applied anytime, any given time while the project is going. So any given time when you cover one round of participant or the stakeholders, you get this analysis, right? So, and this I believe I was fortunate enough to take part in this development phase and the testing phase of the this tool. But unfortunately, what has happened, they developed the tool, and what we heard, finally, they have decided to sell it to the corporate sector, and the corporate sector bought it. So unfortunately, we didn't, the development sector didn't have the luxury of using that tool. So yeah, and so in terms of if you are connecting M&E with the decision making, how does it help? It helps in evidence-based decision making, right? Provide data and insight for informed decision and reduce the risk of associated with uncertainties, right? So policy making processes can be strengthened with the generation of this evidence, and then maintain accountability and transparency. Help organizations to evaluate the use of resources effectively, and also explain the stakeholder in a very transparent manner why such decisions were made, right? And also it gives learning and adaptation opportunity. So as you all know, the organization or the program that doesn't learn, they die. That's a clear saying, right? They're not live. So they connecting M&E with the decision making help you to learn and doing a lot of adaptation towards the progressive side of it. Sorry. Right. So what are the other advantages, of connecting M&E with the decision making? This all you know very much. It helps you to enhance the program effectiveness and ensuring that they are the decision are made, timely decision on adjustment to programs, ensuring they are responsive to changing condition and challenges. So adapting to the contextual changes and being very responsive towards the changes. Identify area of improvements that it helps to help you to identify areas for improvement, and also in facilitating and allow decision for continuous improvement and increased efficiency. Risk management by tracking progress and outcomes and the context. M&E helps organization to identify potential risks and also navigate your strategies, your approaches based on those findings. And engaging stakeholders, I just talk about it lengthy, so I won't go into detail in that. And also connecting M&A with decision making help you to demonstrate impact for your donors, funding, and also move on and access more funding by demonstrating the positive impacts of your program. Learning and knowledge sharing, like this is a very important thing that we pay less attention. So learning and knowledge sharing is not only important in project management decision making, but in terms of the higher level decision making, like influencing sectoral decision making policies at a broader level. Resource optimization, this connecting this information and evidence generated through M&E to decision making will ensure the optimum resource usage. And supporting strategic planning and insight of M&E informing long-term strategic planning, aligning program objectives with organizational goals and stakeholder needs. So to achieve that, so we were talking about the ideal condition that what need to be in place. So to achieve that, what are the kind of prerequisites? Main things are there need to be a kind of an integrated M&E into project plans from the beginning and designing M&E at the outset. So this is a very important thing. M&E is most of the time you see that projects are kind of doing their baseline at the middle of the project and defining data management, data collection process and all these things in the middle of the project. That doesn't work, right? You need to design it as a part of the project management tool, and from the beginning you need to implement it thoroughly. Stakeholder involvement, I'm not going to explain that because I talk about it quite a lot. It's a very critical thing, and you need to make sure that stakeholders are engaging and involved in this whole processes. And continuous learning, creating a culture of learning from M&E outcomes and using it in M&E decision making is very critical. So in terms of challenges, what are the key challenges that you come across in this kind of integrating these two? So M&E need resources. So we see projects that have a lot of expectation on M&E, generate tons of data, analytics, and all that, but with the budgets are kind of peanuts, right? You don't invest enough money, enough resources. So you need to understand this is very important aspect that you need to invest enough resources to achieve the results that you intend to achieve. Data quality, I mentioned in the beginning, data quality is one of the very critical issue that we face in our sector. Data quality improvement is a continuous process. You can't do it at once and say, okay, everything is set and that you are good to go. It's not like that. So you need to pay attention continuously in the data quality improvement. And also data use. Some of the projects generate tons of data, but they don't use it. I mean, I can give you example, but I can't give example with the names. But it's pathetic to see that tons of data is available in the computer in the data systems, databases, but very minor. Minute amount of details are being used in actual decision making. And also, as I said, resistant to change, kind of having a political and cultural aspect, playing in decision-making roles rather than, based on real evidence from the ground. So those are kind of overall challenges that we face in integrating the data data and information generated through evidence generated through M&E system in using it in decision making. So what can we do to enhance use of M&E data in decision making? Some of these can be repetitive, so I can go quite quickly through these because we talk about the issue, and these are kind of what need to be done to address those issues. So having a clearly defined objectives and indicators, we all talk about the SMART indicators. We all know about those things, but how far that we are implementing those things is critical. Stakeholder involvement, again, make sure that stakeholders are part of these planning processes and continuously engage with in the process of data collection and M&E related activities and decision making. Data quality management, I just talked about it. Regular monitoring and feedback loop. So you need to the monitoring and evaluation aspect is not only for donor reporting that needs to be established from the beginning. It's about it's a part of the management. So you need to establish that, and you need to have a feedback loops that M&E generated insight and data is kind of feeding into the decision-making process. That those need to be very clear. It's not shouldn't be ad hoc. Like you time to time managers ask, okay, what is going on, guys? It's not like that, right? You need to have a systematic process to connect the M&E generated insight, information, knowledge to decision making. Evaluation, we take evaluation. Most of the time it's end of evaluation. Sometimes we build in a midterm evaluation process, but evaluation should go beyond that. So the example I told you about the eval is like that. So it continuously evaluating the impact of the project and make decision based on that. So capacity building, we need to build the capacity of the people who are involved in these processes. Technology is very, very advanced these days, and everyone is using smartphone. Even in Sri Lanka, the smartphone penetration at rural levels goes high as 60%. So that technology should be used, and I think development sector still is bit lagging behind in terms of adapting the latest technology. And you need to have a space for communication and dissemination. This data and information generated is very important, not only the project management, but beyond. So you need to pay attention in communication and dissemination. And you need to have adaptive management practices that gives a space for changes based on the findings, and also enough resource allocation. So with that, I will stop my presentation and allow others to share their knowledge as well. And if there's any question, any clarification, or anything you want to discuss, this is the time. So I'm sorry, I think I took a bit of more time, but Sandamali, it's over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Nalaka. It's completely fine. Pasindu, you can again share the screen and put the Q&A session slide for us. Again, Nalaka, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge. And I have personally witnessed how you have used MEL findings for the decision-making processes while you were my country director, maybe like 4 to 5 years back in one organization that we worked together. So let me give a few minutes for our participants to raise their questions either in chat box, or they can raise their hand and get their chance. We do have one question from Mari asking whether you can share the name of the tool that you were talking about. It's going to like eval, I guess.
It's called eval. I mean, I because I didn't have time to get the permission of sharing, so I am a bit reluctant to share the name of the organization, etc. But it's called eval. Electronic evaluation. The long term is electronic evaluation tool.
Okay, so it's electronic evaluation tool. And I see Mr. Sokanathan has raised his hand. Please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. I have one question. The level of recognition of the MNE officers for the regarding the sharing their information. What is the level of recognition? How to influence the decision making?
So if I understand the question right, you're asking the level of recognition for MNE officers, MNE staff at the management decision-making level, right? Is that yeah. So that all depend on how managers think, unfortunately or fortunately, because if you have a good manager, people who want to listen and who want to learn, then I'm sure there's quite a big space for many officers to share their knowledge and influence the decision-making process. If you are a kind of a manager who doesn't care about what others think and who have a kind of a adamant approach to management, then it's other way around, right? So it's not a question that I can like clearly answer, but this is the range of things that I have seen in the development sector. Yeah, so I come from some time back, like early in my career, I was able to get involved in M&E while I'm doing a kind of a management role. So because of that, I was fortunate enough to learn the importance of it. So that's why I talk about this subject continuously. So it's all depend on individuals, but it shouldn't be the case as far as I know.
Yeah. Thank you, Nalak. And adding to that perspective from Mel, I would say irrespective of your level, being a strong male personnel probably will like lead to make your voice heard by the management. If it helpful for the service to organize. And we do have one question over there in the chat. Let me go to Deepa Bandhu first, Mr. Deepa Bandhu, and then I read out the question over there in the chat box. Over to you, Mr. Deepa Bandhu.
Hi, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
I can hear you.
loud and clear.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm in the midnight. Yeah, I just want to give a small feedback. I'm really happy that Nalaka presented very nicely and some broad spectrum of monitoring was covered within this short period of time. Thank you so much. I think in his presentation, I have seen that he iteratively mentioned that the decision-making level, the people who are at the decision-making level are not using most of the information, or they are not relying on the information that is coming from the M&E process. There is one reason I say, because I have been in this sector more than 20 years and even one of members in EVAL, and I say that there is a small issue in our evaluation or M&E process. That is, if you can remember, all of you, I think, who are joining here are doing some sort of M&E. In this M&E, at the beginning of the project cycle, we are talking about some what is called assumptions. These assumptions are really, we keep quiet them. We never touch them. I just get an example, then you might get a better understanding around that one. Let's get this coconut related issue nowadays in Sri Lanka. And when you are planning, this particular issue was not there. because when you put the seeds and get the plant grow, sometimes in 5 years time or whatever, you get the what I call coconut. But there were certain other issues came into the effect in the meantime. These things are really crucial. Therefore, these crucial things are somehow put it into a frame into these assumption areas, and we never really monitor these things. Is there any possibility in your programs to think about it and integrate certain things that are happening at the very lower level and get certain feedback onto the higher level? Not only the last set of information or data, it would be really nice if there is a method to get data and information from the bottom level, not everything, because you have heard about flag points. These flag points are being used by many organizations. That's what I just want to tell. If that is strengthened, decision-making level, let's say personnel can rely on the data and they can take better decisions. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ratty, and it's lovely to see you after a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So I think I mentioned in the presentation also, so this whole, but some organizations call it contextual data, contextual indicators, and the assumption and risk. Those are kind of completely even, if you remember the good old days that we were using the kind of conventional log frame, we put a lot of effort in developing those indicators and assumption, but we don't really monitor it and use it. But those are very important things. And even very recently, I accessed one of the project, quite large project, M&E plan, and it was specifically saying the two contextual indicators that we will not measure in the M&E plan. Point blank, right? We will not measure it. So why? And there's always too much things to do. Like you can just access some of the contextual information and whenever you need. So that attitude, I think, how the project work, how it interact with the context, and what changes that we can do to the context. All these things can be decided if you really do what you are saying, right? So that's how I feel. So yeah, thank you for that input.
Yeah, thank you, Nalaka, for answering that and bringing those old experience. Let me read out Duan Subhasinga's question. So I caught one. I didn't hear anything about learning and adaptation in the disaster-based management framework. However, I heard about feedback mechanism. Best if you could share some learning tools, if any. I know that today's topic is not very much relevant to learning, I think the tools, techniques as such, but we were looking at the decision-making process. But as long as you have experience related to learning tools, we would like if you can share anything coming into your mind. I know, like, this is spontaneous.
No, right. No, I think it's a very, very, very good, very valid thing. But given the very limited time, we can't go into learning and adaptation side in more detail. But there's plenty of tools, and when it's not about tools, right? It's about the attitude and the willingness to go into that area. So if you all, I think most of you have worked in the development sector. If you reflect on your experience, you would find that you don't spend a lot of time on reflecting on data and generated information, and try to extract the learning out of it. So we use beautiful words and everything, but not really using it. So that's a challenge. I think there's plenty of tools that you can access through internet. I mean, I can also share it if you want. But it's not about the tool. I mean, tools can be even, you can develop your own tools that I believe in. Like I have done, if you remember the fisheries project that we had some time back. So the whole participatory learning, that was the time even people were not talking about the participatory monitoring,
Yeah,
but we developed it in our own, right? And later got to know that this is something heavily discussed in the international scenario. That's if you have the right attitude, you will find many ways to do that. But it's a very important question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Nalaka. I think Mr. Tabru has raised his hand.
Yes.
Someone who has been like participating continuously for our webinars. Mr. Tabru.
Thank you very much, Mr. Siriwardena. It was a very interesting presentation. During your review at the project cycle, you end up at the reflections and learning. But I think there's a more important aspect that we should include into the cycle, actually, like the corrective action, because very often the cost overruns and the time overruns are very critical on a project. And if you do not correct it at that time, because if the cost overruns, if you've already finished the money, then what is the option? So that must be brought in, and like to have your views on this.
Thank you very much. Again, it's a very, very important insight. So where I see the corrective action is in the decision-making cycle, right? So once you learn from reflection, collecting data and reflection and analysis of those data, and then you make decision about the corrective actions, right? So corrective action is very much part of the decision making. You need to decide where you need to change your strategies, where you need to change your approaches, where you need to change your staff even. So all this, for me, it's about management decision. Right? So even say technical people and many people get together and understand, okay, the project is not on right track, or we can do more effectively if we are doing these changes. So these need to go to the management, and management should be reflective enough on the findings of the M&E system and then the project staff, and do the changes. That's where I really believe that the corrective action is connected with.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nalaka, and thank you, Mr. Tabru. I don't see any other questions there in the chat box or in hand raised, but I do have one question. Now we were like looking at mostly the development aspects, like development organizations, international organizations, how we would use monitoring and evaluation findings for the decision making. But now like the emerging trend is government sector, like government projects. Government officials are also using these monitoring tools, and evaluations are done, and then we do like evaluation bill is they are in the sitting at the parliament for like approval for the whole legislation process. So what are the like maybe insights or certain points that you want to highlight, thinking about the government projects and the government officials, how they can utilize monitoring and evaluation condition making?
Yeah.
Maybe like what I wanted to ask is basically the government officials who are working at the field level may not be able to influence higher level policy changes as per se, but can they utilize the information that they are gathering for their own level decision making, like at their portfolio?
Yeah, so it's a very important area, Sandamali. And now what we see, the role of the development sector, role of us to kind of what we say to end our job, right? So we want to address the issue. We want to kind of end our job. There won't be any job. Like if we are doing our job correctly, there won't be any jobs for us in the future, because what we do is a facilitation role that the government and the established system are adapting the best practices that we have introduced. In that terms, if you talk about Sri Lanka, I think government was quite progressive. I'm not talking about particular any government, but for last few years, government was receptive enough for the information or the advocacy that development sector did, and they have adopted this national evaluation plan, which applied to all of their policies and the program. And what else you can expect, right? So this is the one of the biggest decision I think the government has made. If they really want to implement it, they are. I mean, that will be the the main thing that will convert most of the government program to a very effective level. So the government is governments are responsive, and they are extracting and tracking some of these things that we are doing and adapting them. And on the other hand, corporate sector is very kind of they corporate sector is always kind of a learning sector, right? So they adapt these tools, as I said, this electronic evaluation tool. What we heard that corporate sector bought it for a very high price. So other sectors are kind of adapting and learning from the the things that we do in the development sector, and has started listening to the kind of the advocacy work that we do. And as you said, how far it will, when it comes to the implementation stage, how far it will go to the implementation level, the grassroots level. It's a question there, because there needs to be a lot of capacity building. You just imagine how much monitoring and evaluation training that we do in the development sector, and how far that we have gone, right? So all this is still we are trying to tackle with. So it will take some time, but I see a lot of positive signs of government and the other sectors are adapting this approach.
Thank you, Nalaka. And I think we have one question that might be our last question. Mary, I think, asking again. Let me quote. Thank you for this great webinar. You're welcome. I was wondering what you think of the that criteria of evaluation for decision making. Do you find it relevant for the context of Sri Lanka, especially in terms of building a MEL system around it? I'm a practitioner based in New Zealand, and I often use the criteria for the evaluations in the factory.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow the question, Sandamali. Sorry, can you repeat it
So
again?
it's, yes, I was wondering what you think of the that criteria. That criteria of evaluation for decision making. Do you find it relevant for the context of Sri Lanka, especially in terms of building MEL system around it?
I think I believe they are, and I mean, we know that we were using this DAC criteria for quite a long time, but still I believe it's very much relevant. And one of the, I would say it's one of the strongest and more long-lasting framework that I have seen in the development sector. There's a lot of framework in other things that comes and goes, but this I think is very much relevant. But I think you have this insight, like in certain things you may not be able to adapt to every context, certain elements of it. But it provides the basic framework and which you can elaborate your evaluation plans in a very systematic and very scientific way.
Yes, mostly when it comes to evaluation, we are using it. Our evaluators are using that criteria. So with that question, I think we can move us to the end of. We do have like 2 minutes. Pasilu, next slide, please. Yeah, so let me invite one of our subcommittee member for the capacity strengthening, where like how we implement this webinar series. So Mr. Indika Sovis, he's an independent consultant on project management and evaluation. So let me invite Indika to provide some thanking remarks. Indika, over to you.
Yep. Thank you, Sandamali. And on behalf of the entire SLEvA and especially Academic and Capacity Building Committee, we want to extend our special thanks to Mr. Nalaka Siriwardena, who is our resource person for the day. And Actually, Nalika, you have extended excellent points that being a senior management team member for so long, how monitoring and evaluation data could be used into generate management insights and decision making. Often I think I'm rather not wrong in saying that there is a challenging area where sometimes that both teams get some challenges in adopting the where the male professionals with the project management specialist have some disagreements per se sometimes with the effective utilization of whether the worth the effort of data collection. And you correctly mentioned certain data maybe sitting in certain areas and not being utilized correctly and timely. So I think this the point you raise actually shed light on certain matters and how effectively use that. And as a forerunner, as you mentioned, you've been you got exposed to certain mail, but it should not be the case even in general management. So that is a very powerful point that you mentioned. So thank you very much, and once again for taking your valuable time and your effort to being in here for the entire evaluation community. So thank you.
Thank you. So,
Over to you.
Sandamali, from my side, also let me thank again SLEvA and you, especially coordinating that, and all the participants who were, interested to join this session. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Nalaka, and thank you, Indika, for your thank you remarks and taking time to join and provide that your valuable time as well. So we are at the end of our 4th webinar for this year. And we will be thinking of some continue this series. But before that, we thought we will collect your suggestions, feedbacks, and even constructive criticisms to improve our webinar series. So therefore, we will SLEvA from SLEvA end, we will send out an official feedback form during coming weeks. And thank you again for joining our webinars. And I see some names who were being with us from January. So thank you very much for taking time. This is your evening and participating with us and bearing with us even our technical details that we had. So everybody enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah.